Do you wanna have fun? Fun, fun. How's about a few fun laughs, fun laughs, fun?
Does it really work when
I can
you're
show
doing them
you
both?
a fun laughs, good time, fun laughs, good time.
Hey, remember when your mom let you watch that movie? Vow, view, vow, view, vow, view, vow, view, vow to view, vow, 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 vow to view,
Vow to view each other's movies, even though we don't always like them, but it's okay because we love each other and movies too. Hey everyone, welcome to Vow to View, a Doof Media podcast all about marriage and the things we make each other watch. My name is Elyse Daly.
And I'm Scott Daly.
And together, we're the Dailies.
Yes, this is the weekly podcast where my wife Elyse and I select a movie loosely tied around a theme of our choice and then make the other person watch it. It's about marriage. It's about the things that we force our spouses to watch.
I realize we don't really pick movies about the theme. We pick the theme about the movies. So that's why they're so loosely tied. We should maybe reword that.
What you like doing in this show is you like taking the illusion of our command of the show and just shattering it. So like we look professional, we look in charge, we look like we know what we're doing, and Elyse goes, "No, it's all a facade. We're just making this shit up."
You're just trying to put me in a box, and I can't be boxed.
Why can't you be boxed?
Because I'm an out-of-the-box thinker.
I don't think so.
I am.
If you're an out-of-the-box thinker, you're like, I mean, you're out of the box, but you're just chilling on like the edge of the box.
Why so?
Oh. I wasn't really planning to be.
Do elaborate, please. Why are you saying that?
I really wasn't planning to be challenged on that. I don't actually have a rebuttal.
So you really do think I'm an out-of-the-box thinker?
I think you can think both in and out of the box as the situation demands.
Is it ever going to demand me to think inside of the box?
Sometimes.
Why would anyone want you to think inside the box? Everyone wants you to be an out-of-the-box thinker.
No, sometimes the solution is to tried and true in the box thinking.
You know what had boxes, Scott?
What had boxes?
The Bachelorette had boxes.
Is this your way of transitioning? Well, we haven't introduced the movie we're talking about.
Who really cares about that? It wasn't that good.
We haven't talked about the theme. We haven't talked about the movie. What is the theme?
You do you, Scott. You do you.
I'm going to do me.
You do the theme, Scott. You do you.
I'm going to do my in-the-box thinking.
Yeah. You keep it back in the box and don't let me go outside and try and like make it an interesting show or anything.
I'm just trying. We have a format. We don't have to stay.
Why do we have to have a format?
Because something has to control the nonsense that spews out of your mouth.
I control the nonsense.
You do not.
I do.
You have no control over it.
I control
the nonsense spewing out of your mouth is like a fire hose going free. It just goes everywhere.
Like a dragon's fire going free.
Elyse, not everyone watches those shows, and you can't talk about them.
Why not?
Because
I wanted part of that thing to be my thorn this week, but then I decided I can't do that.
You can't spoil the show.
Because then it would be like a spoilers section, like Rose spoilers # don't listen. I mean, people probably skip through the Rosies and Thornies anyway. So
this is part 2 of our theme, Mama Doesn't Know, which we've quickly learned doesn't actually mean anything. I think the original idea was, I think Elyse came up with this. It was like stuff that our parents watched with us and then they regretted showing us we were kids, but it was also like stuff we watched without our parents knowing. And
really, it's just whatever you want to watch.
I think it was really just...
That's really what it is every week you just watch what we want to watch, and I find some way to maybe bring them together.
Look, here's the reason for the theme. We need an episode title. That's really it. That's it. So at least
why can't we just say episode 1?
I don't know. I feel like it's gotta pop.
Episode 2.
We could do what like
viewed number 3.
We could do what like those politics podcasts do, and like have the episode title be like something funny, that you said during the course of the episode.
Yeah, because it would only be something I said, not you said.
You know, I was being nice, and you just took it.
I thought you were being serious.
I was.
Yeah.
But, like, you took my compliment, and you said, oh, look, Scott's giving me this nice little compliment.
Yeah.
It's such a wonderful compliment.
Yeah.
And to show my appreciation, I'm going to stab him in the face.
You know, you got to do what you can to elevate yourself even more when the time comes.
Sure, that's a great advice to live by.
Yeah.
It's selfish. You got yours.
You think you're
great.
good? Make yourself better.
It's great.
That's my motto.
It's great.
That should be the tagline.
I regret giving you this power, and we haven't even done it yet.
I got the power.
So we're going to talk about Sweet Charity in a little bit, which was Elise's pick.
Sweet Charity.
It's not.
Bum, bum, bum.
No.
This song isn't from that movie.
Yeah. True, because it's Charity, not Caroline.
Yep.
Elise.
True.
Guess what's back?
Back again.
Bachelor's back.
Tell a friend.
Kill me now. Kill me now. Kill me now.
Gladly
Kill me
will.
now.
Gladly will.
Yes, it's time once again for
The Bachelorette. Yes, and we are Bachelorette-ing this time around because this season it's the one that the ladies like because we've got lots of eye candy to stare at those gentlemen.
That was Elise's really confusing way of saying it's the Bachelorette.
Yep.
And so it's a woman, not a man, in the driver's seat this time. Today was the first episode. It was 2 hours of...
You know what? I was actually enjoying this one a lot more than last time because you remember I hated the first season of Colton's because they made it watch parties. You remember they went all around and then they were like, watch party this, watch party that, interview these people, interview that. You know what? No one really cared about that. All we want to see are the people, and that's what we got to see.
But this is the episode where we meet all 30 of the men, and so you can't tell any of them apart because they're all exactly the same. And this episode is just 2 hours of people getting out of limos and doing stupid things to get girls' attention. Mm-hmm. And then that's
like
it.
have girlfriends.
Yeah. It's the worst. I hate it. I hate the show. I hate this episode more than anything.
You know, I actually enjoyed it.
The stupid things they do to get attention.
I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to. And you know what? I enjoyed her more than I thought I was going to. I was actually very surprised.
They must have done some serious camera coaching on her.
I mean, yeah.
Because the difference between her on the final rose and her on this first episode
night and
was
day.
Night and okay, let's a little further that night. It's not quite night and day yet, but she's a lot better.
7 p.m. and 3 a.m.
There you go.
If you will.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it was a bunch of guys getting out of limos. I don't remember any of these guys. The only guy I remember is Scott because he had my name, and
he was the villain already.
He's the villain of the episode. So Scott,
John Paul Jones. You remember John Paul Jones?
I do remember John Paul Jones.
JPJ.
JPJ. He's gonna. He's such a douche.
Yeah,
Did he
he's
get a
gonna be
rose?
awful.
I didn't.
Yeah,
watch. I didn't
he was
watch
the last one.
Okay. So yeah, there's a guy named Scott, and he comes on the show, and then social medias. You know, the thing about on Monday I got a social media DM from someone that says that he still has a girlfriend, and I'm like, show, you knew this before.
Well,
let's be honest.
Yeah.
You invited him on the show.
You invited Demi and what's her name on the show just so that you could have this whole storyline. Like,
so
duh.
The whole point is he has a girlfriend at home, and he look, like half the people on the show are lying. My boy Scott.
He brought up a really good point.
Okay, we'll get there.
Okay.
My boy Scott, not good at lying. Not good at lying at all.
No, not good
She's
at lying.
like, I hear you have a girlfriend at home. And here's how it went. And this pause could have been manipulated via editing, but here's how it went.
Okay.
I hear you do her. You do her.
So I hear you had a girlfriend back at home. Talked to her on Monday.
I don't have a girlfriend. That was it. It was the most pregnant pause I've ever seen in my entire life. And then he proceeded to being like, yeah, I mean, I could see how it would look that way. Like, I'm not gonna marry her. And it was just the worst. argument.
You have a girl back home waiting on you. So if this whole thing doesn't work out, that's basically her point. And,
No, I'm here for you.
So you broke up with her on Monday, is what you're saying. And now you're here to date me? Well, I mean, I'm not going to bring this up, but you just dated Colton for 2 to 3 months and had a long-term relationship where you were in love with him. I mean, isn't that kind of the same thing? I mean, not the same thing, but kinda.
And the producer is probably whispering in her ear microphone. Is like, oh fuck, he just exposed our whole bullshit. Get him out of there. Get him out of there.
I know.
Yeah,
It's totally different. No, it's not. It's
not.
really not.
It's the same. It's exactly the same.
And it's actually probably a lot different because if she was actually in love with the guy and he was really just messing around with her, like what it seems to be is not a very serious relationship at all.
Yeah.
I think his is even a little bit more credible than hers.
Yeah. Okay, you're dating
Point one, Scott.
Look, you're dating a girl. You get invited on to go onto a dating show, and you're like, hey, we're not that serious. I'm gonna go be on television for a little while.
Yeah.
And maybe that makes you kind of an asshole, but
You know what? We're going to take a break. I'm not going to date you, not going to talk to you. And if it ends up that she's not the one, then maybe,
I'm gonna come back. You're gonna be my clear second choice. First choice was television. Your second choice. If you get on TV, that could change the dynamic a little bit here. But as long as you,
I mean, they kind of exposed him a little too soon. She
Yeah.
could have made some,
I know that could have been
publicity on
really.
her own.
I'm wondering why they pulled this trigger. If they felt like they
Well,
didn't,
they got to hook you in at the beginning.
yeah,
you know?
maybe they just didn't.
They
feel,
were worried about her.
They didn't have a hook this episode. Like
Yeah.
no one got like sloppy drunk and embarrassed themselves.
That's true. There were no costumes.
Yeah, there were no costumes. There were no fighting between dudes. Although I think that the two pilots. Well,
one of them's gone.
what? Which one?
Yeah.
The one in the
that
uniform?
no, the one that was wearing his uniform.
Should have worn
stayed.
his uniform.
If he'd worn the uniform, yeah.
I think it's really funny that he's like, "Oh, you're a pilot too?" Yeah, and he's like, the camera cut. Da, da, da. Oh shit, another pilot. There can't be two pilots on the same show.
You got to get rid of one. Which one do you want, Hannah? You got to cut one.
I'm gonna get the one that is wearing his cool pilot suit.
I mean, I wish I was the producer on the show during the first one, and you're really helping her. Like, she's thinking to herself, well, who's this guy? Well, this was a pilot, but this guy's wearing the pilot uniform. Well, yeah, you've got two pilots, Hannah. We gave you two pilots. You can pick one pilot or you can keep both pilots. Do you want to keep one pilot? And she's like, oh, I don't know. You got to keep one pilot. You need to at least keep one pilot.
Two
Which
pilots
pilot do you
is
want to keep?
confusing.
And then they're like, you got to keep someone who's controversial. John Paul Jones. What did you think about JPG? JPJ. It's a tough name. He's got 3 names. What do you think? John Paul Jones? Yeah. Okay. And they're just, like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think it'd be a fun job.
I think you would be good at the job.
I think I'd be awesome. I say this every time.
I think you would be scarily good at the job. But yeah, so then it ends. She sends some people home. It doesn't matter because we'd never really got to know them anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. The theme of the season, you can already tell they're setting up is just how real she is.
Yeah.
Like I think at the opening of the sense, like she's not an actress. She's not a performer. She's just a real person, which I think by default, like hints that everyone else is not
Well, I think
real.
that he also probably said that on the date that looks like they were filming part of a soap opera, which is definitely also one of the scenes where they have that guy that got the first impression rose yelling at somebody else. It's a soap opera scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
Like, duh.
I can't wait till the episode that is like, we're gonna fly planes. They always do those activities that like one person on it has a clear advantage. Like when they did the firefighting school and there's a fucking firefighter.
Yeah.
Like it's like now we're gonna play football and
Go
there's a
golfing
professional
with
football
the
player.
professional
Yeah.
golfer.
There's definitely gonna be a
Let's
golf
go play
challenge.
putt-putt.
Yeah.
Hole in one.
We're gonna learn how to fly airplanes. And the professional pilot, they're gonna cut to him in the booth, and he's like, I don't know, guys. I think I got an advantage here. And then he's going to lose. That's going to be the funny part.
No, not him.
All right. So that's The Bachelor.
I'm excited about it.
I do like that she does, like, I know this is all bullshit, but she was very like, I'm not going to put up with your shit with this guy. Like, I like she like, I was worried that she's like going to be this like reserved, like, just like so happy to be here person. But like, she was like, no, come here. And then when she was ready for him to go home, she walked him to the door and was just like, get out.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out.
he was lingering.
Come
on.
How come people named Scott always have to be bad guys?
They're not always bad. There's you and there's Ant-Man. There's two good Scotts in the world.
Scott is, that's true. Thank you. I
You're
feel
welcome.
better now.
I have a cousin, Scott, too. He's a good guy, too. There's three good Scotts.
Jury's out on that, Scott.
No, it's decided. He's a lawyer.
Scott Lang gets to, he's a lawyer? Mm-hmm. So your argument is good person because lawyer.
Well, the jury's still out, I'm saying. He's won the jury over because he's the lawyer. He's done his job well.
Yeah, so bad person.
No, good person. He did his job
He's
well.
a lawyer.
He's not a bad lawyer.
It's like an oxymoron.
No, it's not.
Elyse,
Yeah.
let's move on from The Bachelor.
To what is given out at The Bachelorette, the Rosies.
We did that last week.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, well, sometimes you got to repeat things.
Repeat stuff. It's Bo Burnham.
Oh, okay.
It's time for Rosies and
Thornies.
Every rose has its thorn.
Has its thorn.
Just like every night has its dawn.
Dawn, dawn, dawn.
Every cowboy sings a sad song. Every rose has its thorn. Yeah. Jesus. Elyse,
Yes.
would you like to go first?
Sure, I had to remember what my Rosies and Thornies
That's
were.
why we write them down on the script.
Yes. Sometimes Scott has good ideas. Every week he gets one. And this is the one that he has this week.
I get one a week.
He gets one a week. So this week, my Thorny is the fact that, yay, we're done with the 8-week Power Zone Peloton Challenge.
We did it.
Boo, that the way that it ends is you have to do this FTP test.
What does that stand for?
Functional Threshold Power?
Exactly.
Okay. So anyways, you go as hard as you can for 20 minutes after doing a 10-minute ride. And the idea is that you should be able to do better than last time.
Yep.
And me with my whole competition intrinsic motivation means I am not going to fall below what I did last time.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
Like, even if I'm just competing with myself, I'm going to totally demolish my old self into my new self.
For sure.
Definitely.
For sure. You basically have to.
Yeah. So anyways, I almost died. So there's like these zones, the 1 to 7. We've talked about it before, So like the 3 is the one that you're supposed to be able to hold for an hour, right?
More than an hour.
More than an hour. 4 is an hour
at max.
5 is what?
10 to 15 minutes.
10 to 15 minutes.
6 is 5 minutes at max.
That's where we go bad, guys. Just learning that bit of information. And then 7 is like very little
moments.
So Scott's been researching because he really wants to do good on this FTP test. And then he was like, so here's all you gotta do, Elyse. I've been reading this. And step 1.
I love your impressions of me. Like, your impressions of people are great, but your impressions of me are always
it's pretty good.
Hey, yo, I'm just the smartest guy in the world. Anyway, please continue.
Yeah, so he's like, all you gotta do is start in zone 4. And then you just, every 5 minutes, so it's like base zone 4, high zone 4, low zone 5, in zone 5, high zone 5. And I kind of forgot what he said, other than the fact that Matt was like, okay, so guys, if you're a beginner rider, you can start in zone 4. And if you're more experienced, you can start in zone 5. And I'm thinking to myself, I'll start in zone 4. So I started in zone 4, but I started in, high zone 4, like teeter-tottering zone 5.
Yeah, that's what I did
So first 5 minutes, high zone 4, low zone 5. Second 5 minutes, zone 5 all the way. So I'm halfway through, it's 10 minutes. So the next 5 minutes, zone 6, which I just now learned is not supposed to be for very much longer than that. And then the last 5 minutes, high zone 6, And then I went into zone 7 almost for 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess it was my old zone.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point of this thing is that, like, you're in a zone 6, but your old ones, but it's actually going to be zone 5
But I
in your new
still
one.
kept the last 3 minutes. I was like, I really don't know if I can make it through this.
Yeah, but that's the point of the
I
test.
really don't think I can do it. Like, I was having a hard time breathing, and I probably should have told you before you rode the bike that I had to blow my nose in the towel.
Ew, I put that on my face. I put that on my face.
I know, I should have told you. But we both found out things right now we didn't know before. Me zone 6 and you my snot.
Yeah, those are
Anyways.
comparable.
Yeah. I couldn't. It was hard.
Yeah, it was. It's supposed to be hard.
It was really hard.
You're supposed to finish the ride.
Matt was like, if you put anything lower than a 10 for how hard this is, then you're not doing it right.
I'm
you
glad
know what?
that's not your impression of my voice.
I gave that ride a thumbs down and a 10.
You gave it a thumbs down?
Yes, I gave it a thumbs down.
It's his job. He did a good job.
I don't care. I did not like it.
The whole point of the ride is that you were supposed to walk away from that ride feeling like
Mad at Matt.
you could not have done
Mad Matt.
you could not have done anything more.
I
that
couldn't.
you gave your absolute
I couldn't have done
100%.
any more.
Well,
I almost died.
well, that's good. That's what you like. There are people on our Facebook group that are reporting like that they went and threw up afterwards. Like that's
What?
the level of effort.
That's not healthy.
Sometimes you push your body too hard. But
I probably could have thrown up if I.
but Elyse,
Yeah.
how much did you score up?
I went up
by?
23 points.
There you go. You went up 23 points. That's
Yeah.
it's enormous.
How many did you go up? I think you went up more than me.
I don't like between FTPs or
Yeah.
between
The
average.
FTPs.
My old one was a 207.
Mm-hmm.
My new one is a 235. So, 28.
Yeah,
So,
you
that's
beat
pretty
me.
Good. I mean, we both did really good though. It was really great.
But you beat me. Next time I'll have to beat you.
Babe, it's a
I don't know if
function of it's a function of your weight, your gender,
And
your
don't
size.
spout off this
I'm
stuff
just-
that Matt says.
I'm just telling
Don't
you.
spout it off at me. You know what I'm going to spout off at you?
What?
I win, you lose
Okay.
next time.
Okay.
I might be throwing up, but you know what? I'll win.
I felt like I was going to die by the end of it too. I was right there with you. So,
Okay. Well, you weren't there with me.
I mean, not literally, but emotionally, I got
No,
you.
you were in the other room.
I got
You
you.
were in the other room.
Are you done with your thorn?
Yeah. What's yours?
My thorn is exercise related as well.
Man, we are just such active people these days.
Except both of ours is complaining about how hard exercise is.
You know what? We just push our bodies to the limit.
So yeah, we've been doing this 8-week program, and the whole point of it for me is I used to be very big into running. I ran a marathon, and I've kind of fallen out of running. And the last time I tried to get into it again, I just felt like my legs were just so like immediately heavy and tired. Like they just had nothing. Like a quarter of a mile into the run.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because you're old.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
babe.
You're
Thank
welcome. I
That's
love you.
So sweet of you.
I love you.
I can't wait till you turn 30 and I call you old for the rest of your life.
And then I'm going to say, you know what? I might be 30, but you're still 34.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
I burned my hand.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Anyway, the point is, I part of the reason why I signed up for this whole thing is I want to work on the bike for 8 weeks and then see how my legs are doing when I take them for a run. So I went for a run today.
Yeah,
I ran a mile
we did.
and I was a little disappointed. That's why it's my thorn. I was a little disappointed. I expected my fitness to transition between bike and run a little more than it did. My legs did okay, but man, my lungs, I just felt like I didn't have lung capacity, which is weird because like I feel like
it's the opposite for me.
I feel like we push our lungs pretty hard on the bike. Like I don't know. I don't know what it was. It's just like it's a different kind of workout, I guess, and it's just something my body was not used to. So it's a little bummer. Like I'm a little bummed about it. I was expecting that to translate a little more, but the important part is my legs.
You got out there and you ran.
Yeah, my legs like weren't dying. So
Good
I
for
feel
you.
like, you start with a mile and you work your way up. That's what I did last time. I started with a mile and then I ran 26. So
You're going to have to
Not-
run every day.
I'm not going to do that again.
Run every day.
I'm not going to run every day. I'm going to mix it in with the bike.
Okay. You going to bike tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. What are you going to do tomorrow?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
What do you mean you haven't decided yet?
I'm gonna do a 75-minute Power Zone Max ride. That's what I'm gonna do tomorrow.
I don't think those exist.
I don't think they do either.
Okay.
But you put me on the spot, and that's what I'm gonna say. So yeah, there was it was a little bit of a bummer that it didn't translate the way I thought it was going to. But I'm not giving up, remaining hopeful. So onward and upward. Speaking of upward,
yes,
Elyse, what's your rose for this week?
So last week was a wonderful week full of appreciation for teachers, and it was just so lovely. Our school does such a great job of making our teachers feel appreciated a lot during the year, but really a good job during Teacher Appreciation Week. And so it was just very nice. We had little things every day. I won a raffle for a massage, which was nice. I'm going to really enjoy that. So, it was just a lovely week. Full of happiness. Got lunch, got breakfast, got dessert.
Got a whole bunch of Starbucks money.
Got a lot of Starbucks gift cards. Got dinner brought home on Thursday.
That's my favorite part of it. Every Thursday during Teacher Appreciation Week, I get free dinner.
Yeah.
And it
is delicious.
It's chicken, green beans, rolls.
That potatoes. The potatoes are good. Scalloped potatoes. Yep. I enjoy it.
I appreciate you, teacher.
Thank you.
My rose is related to my favorite author. So the trailer for It Chapter 2 was released last week, I think on Thursday. It being the horror movie based off of Stephen King's book of the same name. And it's a really creepy trailer for a sequel to a movie I really liked for one of my favorite King books. Just got me thinking about how good of a time it is to be a Stephen King fan right now.
Is this actually a book?
It?
Is there a sequel to the book It?
No, it's just they divided the book into 2 movies because it's a very big book. It's like this thick. The book is divided.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah, the book is divided into it's about a group of kids battling a monster when they're young, and then that same group of kids comes back when they're adults to finish the job that they didn't finish when they were kids. So the first book was about them being kids, or the first movie was about them being kids. The second movie is about them coming back as adults. In the book, it's all interwoven. Like it cuts back and forth between them as kids and them as adults. But in the movie, they decided to divide it into 2.
Was the old movie like that too, where it was just the kids, or did it weave the whole story?
It was a miniseries.
I thought there was another movie that was called It.
Yeah,
this was a remake.
It was a miniseries. It was a made-for-TV miniseries. It was like 8 hours long.
Obviously, I haven't seen it.
It's honestly not very good. I really liked It Chapter 1. It Chapter 2 is back. It has the most stacked cast ever. Jessica Chastain, James McAvoy, Bill Hader are playing.
Bill Hader.
Some of the 3 of the older members of the group now that they're adults. I'm so excited about it. The trailer looked great. And being a Stephen King fan, being a constant reader right now is amazing. There's a Dark Tower series in the works for Amazon. They're making a new version of The Stand. They're going to make The Talisman, which is a book I'm reading right now. Pet Sematary just came out. Okay, it wasn't very good, but it's just like it's the Stephen King-assance right now. And there's that Castle Rock show on Hulu that's based loosely on the Stephen King series. Like it's
Do you still watch that?
It's the season ended. Season 2 hasn't come out yet.
Oh.
It's just really great freaking time to be a King fan, and I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it so much. I am in my very slow process of reading and rereading through his entire bibliography.
I don't know if you'll ever catch up.
He is only releasing 1 book this year, though. Only 1. Oh. Last year was a 2-book year, and a book just got announced.
One was really small.
Yeah, and a book just got announced for 2020. So my man's still going. He's ridiculous. I can't believe he still churns out books like this. But yeah, it's exciting. It's really exciting.
Do you think he really does write them, or do you think he is just ghostwriters now?
I think he really writes them.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I don't know.
He writes them.
Okay.
It's his life. Like he is the type of writer that writes every day. It is part of his, like, he makes himself write every day. He makes himself write a certain number of hours every day.
Who he should give lessons to?
George R. Martin.
Yeah.
Patrick Rothfuss.
How'd you know that?
Yeah. George R. Martin writes a lot. He's just not writing
He's
those
just not
books.
focused.
There was a rumor that went around yesterday that both of George's books were done.
I told you they were done.
George came out today and said that is not true.
That's what he's contractually obligated to say.
Contractually obligated to who?
HBO.
Why?
They don't want it to ruin their show.
Why would it ruin the show?
Because then they would be competing and people would know that the story actually ends a different way and they wouldn't be as invested in the show.
I don't think that's true.
It's true.
I don't think that's
It happened.
true. I think the only thing the books coming out could do is spawn more Game of Thrones fervor. There's no way it would have.
Well, and that's the deal is they don't want the books to come out until after the show's done. That way, then they can have new people watch the show again and make more money. But if it's right now, everyone's just already latched on to it.
You don't think HBO would have absolutely loved for a book to come out in between the year they took off?
No, I don't think so.
Ridiculous.
No.
Ridiculous.
No.
They're also working on 5 Game of Thrones spinoffs right now.
Yeah, that's going to be too much. It's going to be like The Walking Dead all over again.
Yeah, it is about as well written as The Walking Dead. Boom, got him. Okay, I'm done with my rose.
Okay.
Stephen
Our
King.
rosies were
Stephen King.
shorter.
Mwah, loved
Yeah,
it.
we like to gripe more than we like to enjoy.
Sometimes life is for griping.
Yep. It's just
All
a
right.
good release.
All right, Elyse, let's move
Yep.
on to the main event. That's really, is it the main event? Let's move on to the side event. Let's talk about your movie.
Sweet Charity.
Tell me about Sweet Charity.
Sweet Charity is a bombastic musical loosely based on the Fellini film Knights of Cabiria.
Cabiria.
It tells the story of a dancing girl named Charity, played by the incomparable Shirley MacLaine, who's looking for love in all the wrong places. When Charity gets stuck in an elevator with a claustrophobic and shy Oscar, love blossoms. But will Oscar be cool with Charity's chosen line of work? No. No, he won't. So that's the story of Sweet Charity.
That is the story of Sweet Charity.
Yes.
This movie was directed by
Bob Fosse.
Mr. Bob Fosse, the man that we talked about last
he
week.
directed and choreographed the Broadway version of this, which is why he was asked to do the movie version of it.
And it was starring Gwen Verdon,
Yes.
who did not do the movie version of it.
No, she was
She
the
recommended Shirley
uncredited assistant choreographer. But
So before we get into all that,
okay,
tell me
yes.
why you picked this movie. What does this movie have to do with our theme?
So when I was little, I remember we used to watch tons of musicals, like that was what we were raised on. And so this was one that we watched. It was G. And so we were like, oh yeah, we can watch this one.
Yeah,
It's
but that
G,
doesn't
it's
mean
fine.
too
But
much.
yeah, it doesn't mean anything when it came out in 1969. Anyways.
Was that a 69 joke? Nice.
Well, it's just with the theme of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, I remember we were watching this movie and I forget if it was that we made it all the way through or if we had just started watching it. But I remember that we didn't ever watch it again. And it came up because I had this Best of Broadway CD and we would listen to all the songs and it had the song Big Spender on it.
Mm-hmm.
And my sisters and I loved that song Big Spender. It was just like the singing was fun. It was just it's just written so well that when you wanted to have a fun dance, you could just the musicality was spot on.
Right.
So anyways, we loved that one. It was one of the favorite ones off of that album, as well as the Master of the House. That one from Les Mis.
Mm-hmm.
We really enjoyed that one too. But Big Spender was on there. And so then it was always well, what's Big Spender from? It was Sweet Charity. And I remember it was always the conversation of, have we seen Sweet Charity? And it was yeah, we've seen Sweet Charity. Well, I don't remember it. Well, we're not going to watch it again. And it was I didn't really ever care about it. And I was well, why are we going to watch it again? And, is the explanation about what, the entire plot of the movie was. And so it was just didn't watch it again. But, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
all
Big
honesty,
Spender is a song about soliciting men for.
Oh, yeah. So just let me sing and dance to it when
Yeah.
I'm 12, but I'm not going to watch it.
It's like when Kids Bop did that "Shake It Like a Polaroid Picture" song,
yes.
which is about like meaningless sex. That's what the song is about.
Yes.
Um,
But anyways,
yes.
so that was that. And I think all in all,
So it was an oops movie.
It was probably better though that we didn't watch it, not because of the content that it was, but because it was not a very good movie.
This is a bad movie.
It was really bad.
I mean, my movie wasn't very good, but this is a bad. Here's the weird thing about this movie, though, Elyse. The
choreography.
The choreography is holy shit
beautiful.
Amazing, and that's like. I feel like I appreciated this movie a little bit more than I would have had we not been also watching Fosse Verdon.
Yeah.
Because like you get like into his head, and so like you're watching these dance numbers performed, and you like know like how
some of the decisions were made. Yeah.
And you know how exacting and precise Bob Fosse is, so you're like paying a little bit more attention to the preciseness of the choreography. Like in that Big Spender song, the precision with which each and every woman on that line
the fingers
does that. Yeah. And then what's the name of the other song? Rich Man's Frug, the one in the
club.
In the club.
Yeah.
It has like 3 different numbers. Like that is incredible.
Yeah.
And it's so good. And so like you're just like, I'm just sitting here and I'm like completely enraptured by the choreography of these songs. And then the songs end.
And then there's the movie
and then there's the movie itself. And it's just kind of weird.
Let's not watch that.
Well, like, it's like, I mean, in Knights of Cabiria is about a prostitute, like a literal prostitute. And in this movie, like, they don't ever say she's a prostitute. She's a dancer for hire, right? Like
she's a hostess.
Right. Like, she's a dance hostess. And so, like, men pay to dance with her and to hang out with her. And, like, the movie, like, it gets as close as it possibly can to imply some other stuff goes on, but it never comes right out and say it. But yeah, she's basically like maybe not a full prostitute, but yeah, she's definitely an escort. So it kind of skirts around that stuff. But yeah, the story of this is weird because it's like, I mean, and I think Shirley MacLaine is great.
Yeah,
but
it's a very different character for her. And I like her characters that are a little bit more eccentric, I think, than this one. Not that it was just like a very typical, like, girl Broadway role. Yeah. It was just, this is not the Shirley MacLaine that I love. Like, the Shirley MacLaine that I love is Weezer from Steel Magnolias. Like, that is the epitome of who Shirley MacLaine is to me.
Which makes sense. It's Shirley MacLaine around your age when you started watching films.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
And then going back and seeing her like this, I was like, no, this isn't Shirley.
It's weird because, like, I mean, Knights of Cabiria, again, is a story that's basically like, it's just kind of a wandery story through the life of a prostitute that has like ups and downs. And you can kind of see that in this movie a little bit, where like the main drive of the plot doesn't rear its head until very late in the movie. Like the movie's the movie opens up with her she's engaged to be married to this guy, and he pushes her in a river and steals all her money and runs away. And then she bumps into a famous Italian movie star and like spends this night with him where nothing actually happens because she spends the night in the closet. But like, and then finally, like, coming out of that experience, she's motivated to go get a job. She goes to this office to get a job, and there's this weird scene with her and an HR guy, which is kind of heartbreaking because like she's just like, I have no qualifications, I have no experience, but there's got to be something I can do good. Please give me a job somewhere. And he's just like a jerk. Because he thinks that his friends are just pranking him, and it breaks her heart. And then she gets stuck in an elevator with this random guy, and it's weird because like I honestly did not think this was going to be the romantic interest of the story, because the elevator scene is him, a claustrophobic, like freaking out. And the movie is very much playing it for, look at this nut job guy. But that's so funny.
That's what they do in The Bachelorette. They put you in those intense scenes.
True.
Where the only thing that you do is you latch on to that person because your anxiety puts you in an emotional state.
Yeah. Yeah. And
so this is where The Bachelorette got it from. Don't be surprised if there's any claustrophobic dates this season.
So it's not even until after the intermission, though, because this movie does have an intermission,
Yeah.
that really the main thrust of the story starts, because like now she's dating this guy. He really likes her. She really likes him. And the conflict becomes, am I going to tell him about
my hostess
my job? And he's a very straight, I think he's an actuary, he says, or something. Like
he was a member of a cult.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Yeah.
He's just like, will you come to church with me? And I'm like, oh, this is more evidence that he's like this very straight-laced guy. But the church they go to is like
a cult.
I mean, it's it's like a I mean, it is kind of like a cult. Like it's like a very 60s Motowny dance and song cult.
You can say it. You can say what it's like. It's okay.
I mean, that was Sammy Davis Jr., right? I'm pretty sure that was Sammy Davis Jr. that was the guy. And it's just like, it's out of nowhere. And like everyone in that thing looks like, they look like, you know, very like hippie-ish. Like this is 1969. They look very like peace, love type of people. And then you have Oscar, who's still wearing his suit. And he's like, this is supposed to be the place that he's going to, that he's taking her to, and he feels so out of place here. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
You know,
it's just like it's almost as if like in Fosse Verdon, when they were talking about Damn Yankees, and they just threw a musical number in there because they needed another musical number because the other one wasn't working, and it really wasn't a number from that story at all. They just threw it in there. That's what this feels like. This feels like they just threw a musical number in here because, like, it's 1969, and that kind of music is all the rage.
60s. Yeah.
And it was so out of place and weird. I don't understand it.
But the dancing.
But
it was a fun dancing number. I mean, that's the deal. Is every single song.
Yeah.
Great dancing. Great number. Even Shirley, who's not a very good dancer. That's not her cup of tea.
Especially compared to the precision of the other choreography. You could tell that hers were not as precise, and Fosse was
even
not
like
challenging
as precise as it can be. Like that's one of the things that I love about his choreography is that it's fluid precision, which I think is extremely difficult in order to perfect. But like everything, it's just you're constantly moving, and it's that flowy movement, but everyone flows the same way.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, speaking from someone who has choreographed and tried to clean routines before, that is extremely difficult. And so a lot of times you just end up making things like more what they call military style, where it's just like straight lines and precise movements. That way it can look clean.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, speaking as someone who's never done that before, it looks incredible. It looks incredible. Like, if I
and then you're like, I can do this because all I'm doing is waving my arms and turning my wrists.
Yeah,
and then
you're doing it in time.
Hard.
You're doing it in time and matched with every single other person. Yeah, it's insane. And if I had a recommendation for people to see this movie, I would be like,
watch the dance numbers on YouTube.
Numbers. Yeah, exactly.
Because they're there.
Big Spender is on YouTube. Go watch it. It's phenomenal.
So is that club one. I can't think of the name of the song.
I had it right up here. But yeah, I don't think Bob Fosse is a very good director either. And it's weird because I know he wins for Cabaret, and maybe that's just like,
I've never seen Cabaret, so I don't know if that's good.
I haven't seen it either. Maybe his style fits better in Cabaret, but he does a lot of weird things with the camera.
Which I think goes along with kind of his just weird vision of how movement goes.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking about. It's like all of these movements that they have as far as like fluid, and then they stop and they're in like these weird angles.
Yeah, he
that's
makes the
what
camera
he does
do that
with
too. Like the camera will be panning and then it'll just freeze. Like the whole image will freeze and go still image, and then it'll go, and like the music will cut out, everything will drop out, and it'll go again. And they're interesting things. I just don't think they ever like fit.
And he always would shoot from below.
Right.
Like all the time. It was always below.
And he really likes rack zooms. Like
I don't know what that is.
Well, like, so there's two, like most zoom ins in film, especially nowadays, is it's just the camera moving closer to the subject. It's not like, when you open up your phone and you zoom.
Yeah.
That's a rack zoom. That's actually, if you're holding a camera, you're actually twisting the camera to zoom the lens, to change the focal point of the lens to zoom in.
Okay.
And most people in film don't do that anymore because like you lose visual clarity as you zoom like that. And he does it a lot. Like if you'll notice, like the camera's just sitting there, the camera doesn't move, and suddenly the image zooms in. It used to be more popular. In the I don't remember exactly when it fell out of style, but it was more popular in and around this time. But he uses it more than almost any director I've ever seen, and it's just weird, quirky stuff that like I like interesting directorial decisions. I like
when they're smart.
I like when directors push the envelope, think outside the box, and try to do something different with the tools they have. I just feel like he was doing it to do them and not because like this is best for this moment, this is best for the emotional core of this scene. And it was a lot of weirdness like that where you're just like, why are we doing that?
Was this the first movie that he directed?
Yes.
Okay,
This
so
was
yeah,
his
that's
directorial
exactly
debut.
why he did it. He didn't know what he was doing.
He had no idea. He probably didn't even know cinematic language very well
Yeah.
either, and just kind of winging it. So yeah, I mean
I mean, that makes perfect sense now.
I do want to go back and watch Cabaret though.
I do too.
Because I'm pretty sure he won the director Oscar for it. And so obviously he took the things that he learned and got better. And maybe Cabaret is just
and maybe Gwen got better.
maybe Cabaret, yeah, maybe Gwen Verdon got better. Maybe Cabaret is just a movie that this kind of weirdness works more in. I mean, knowing what I know about that show, I think it would.
Well, and then also thinking about just musicals that then transition to the screen. I think that there are some musicals that do transition better than others. And this may just be one that, especially given the time, and I think given the perception of the actual job that she had and just kind of the restrictions on, like, this was a time when you didn't even have, the husband and wife in the same bed, right? That this was still the time where it was separate or probably maybe teetering on.
Yeah, I think it was right around the time when
and
that started shifting.
Like, there were probably a lot of restraints that if we really were to like dig into the history, could uncover and see that he probably could have done a little bit more with it now.
His first producer quit.
Yeah.
Because they were having arguments about what the studio wanted them to restrict.
Right.
So, yeah, that was a constant push-pull throughout this entire production, for sure.
And it would probably be really hard for him having directed the stage, And so then we did this here and this is the only way that it's going to work. So if you don't want to do it, and so I'm sure those sorts of conversations were had.
Could we talk about the ending?
Which one?
Exactly. So the ending of this movie is Oscar. She tells Oscar who she is, what her job is. He's really weird with it at first, but then he comes around and is like, okay, it's not who I thought you were, but I love you. I love being with you. I want to marry you. And then so she takes him to work to just pick up some stuff for work because she's quit the job now. She's not going to do that. She doesn't want to do that anymore. She's quitting. And they throw a surprise party for her. And it's all her friends and her boss and all these things like, congratulations on your engagement, surprise party. And of course, in the midst of this is their kind of very, I don't want to say crude, just a lot less straight.
Colorful.
Yeah, there you go. Colorful. It's a lot less straight-laced type of behavior. And he is just completely off-put by it. So that finishes, and he basically calls off the engagement. And then he makes it about him. He's like, I can't do this to you. I would ruin blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit.
It
sucks. And then he storms off. And the movie ends with her, miserable in the park. She's woken up.
Right where she started.
Right where she started. She's woken up by some hippies that wish her good morning and tell her peace and love. And she uses this as like a moment to say, I'm going to be okay. And she wanders off into the park and she lived happily ever after appears on the screen. So it's kind of this message of like this woman who was like trying to find happiness, through other people, right?
Yeah.
Like she was using the men and the relationship she was in as a path to happiness. And so the message of the movie is her, finding happiness on her own without that.
It's a good message.
It is. It's a good message. And apparently, it was not the ending.
Not the only message they thought about doing.
Yeah, because there's an alternate ending where Oscar realizes his mistake.
And then they end up
happily ever after. And I'm like, that sucks. I'm glad that was not in the
Having
theatrical
never
release.
seen the musical, I wonder which one was the actual musical.
I don't know. Apparently
ending.
there's a fairy godmother in the musical too.
Yeah, they took her out.
Broadway gets weird as shit.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, I mean, I think that gets into the part of the podcast that we're going to try to do every week now, which is relate the film that we watched back to relationships.
Yeah.
And I think this central message of you need to find love and happiness with yourself before you can find it with someone else.
I think that's so true. Yeah.
I think
it's always good to have time on your own.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about this before, that the time between you and I dated, I had bounced from one relationship to another, and I'd never really let myself be with myself for very long. But the 4 months leading up to you and I getting together, the 6 months actually, I think, no, 5, whatever. Certain amount of months. So
you had a girl on Monday when you started dating me?
Yup. No.
I knew it.
The 4 to 5 months before I met you, I had resigned myself to just be like, look, I broke up with a girl I was dating because it was long distance, and I didn't want to do that. And I realized I was picking long distance relationships specifically because I knew that they probably wouldn't work out. And yeah, it was a way to not feel alone without like having to fully commit to something. So I realized that. I broke it off with her. And I just let myself be me for a while. And I think that was the most important thing I could have done in my life. And I think it's very fortuitous that I got through this thing right about the time that I met you, because like when I decided to get myself back into the dating scene, I met you very quickly after that. So, sometimes timing and stuff is a little serendipitous that it works like that. But yeah. This is not a good movie, but I like that message. And and all joking aside, I think that's important to learn, and I'm so glad they went with that ending over the actually no, he's just going to realize his mistake and they're going to be happy ending. Screw that.
And I liked how in the end too, like even though the alternate one where he came and he was so concerned because she was at the bridge and he was just like, for sure she was going to jump into the bridge and she was just going to, yeah. And whenever he had mentioned that to her, she was like, no, there's no way I would have done that. Why would I have done that? I've already hit rock bottom. It can't get worse from here. It's only going to get better.
Yeah.
And I just like having that sort of mentality, I think is
it's only going to get better from here, not worse.
A good way in order to like help pep talk yourself. And I know that
I also like this idea is like he broke it off with her, and so he assumes, oh, she would kill herself if she can't be with me.
No,
and she's like,
not going to.
Like I kind of wish it ended with her just telling him off and be like, nah.
Yeah. And her finding a way to swim out on her own. That would have been awesome.
Would have been great.
Nope.
Didn't do it. I'm so glad they didn't use that ending. So
I
glad.
am too.
But that is sweet, sweet Charity.
Just one sweet.
I understand why your mom yanked that one from the rotation. Although, I mean, to be honest with you, it's really not.
And if you're a kid, you're not going to have picked up on it at all.
They mask that stuff successfully enough that you probably won't even realize that's what they're talking about.
Yeah. I'm actually glad that I didn't watch it because it was so long. And even if I had probably had it put back on, I would have lost interest in it before intermission. It was just one of those movies.
Yeah. Watch the performances. That's all you got to do.
It's true.
All right, Elyse.
Yep.
That's the end of this theme. Happy Mother's Day to our mothers and to all the mothers out there. That's why we did Mama Doesn't Know, is because it was around Mother's Day. What is next? What are we going to do? We're going to do
Murder, She Wrote.
Okay, so this is another one of those themes that we have to have a conversation.
I think this is really creative. I think this is definitely out of the box thinking.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it
there is no box here. So the concept of this theme is basically
Scott wanted me to watch LA Confidential. So I know nothing about LA Confidential except there's like murders and gangs, right?
Yeah, it's a film noir.
Yeah. So like murder, hello. That's where we get the murder from. His Girl Friday. She wrote Murder, She Wrote, because it's about a newspaper. It's wonderful.
No murder in His Girl Friday.
I don't think so. I don't remember it well enough.
Yeah, so next week we are going to do Elise's movie, His Girl
just wanted to
Friday.
rewatch
And then
it.
the week after that, we'll be doing my movie, LA Confidential.
Yeah.
A movie that has Kevin Spacey in it, but we'll try not to let that ruin
I'm actually
it for
pretty
us.
proud of this theme, how it came together.
I think
with
it's
this
great,
title.
babe. I'm so proud
I think
of
it's
you.
pretty good.
Oh, we forgot to do that thing where we compared the two movies. We compared Sweet Charity and Sphere. Does Sweet Charity and Sphere have anything in common? A man cheats on his fiancée with someone else.
Not in that.
Not in what?
Not in Sweet Charity.
Yeah. In Sweet Charity, the guy she's with at the very beginning is with someone else.
Charlie?
The guy that pushes her into the water from the bridge is married to someone else and promised that he was going to leave her for charity. So that's one. There's water.
There's
People
water.
drowning in water.
There's the hope we can forget.
That movie experience. Both movies,
Yeah.
we just kind of want to forget them.
Yeah. So we'll hold our hands again.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's it for this one.
Yep.
Maybe we'll have some more in common in the next two pairings.
I think we will.
Yeah. So that is next week. We will be watching His Girl Friday, a movie. You know, I'm sad
It's got
because
Cary Grant in
I've
it.
never seen this movie and I've wanted to forever. I hear it is fantastic.
It has been so long since
It's on,
I've seen this
it's,
movie.
It's supposed to be fantastic.
We
It's-
have it. I'm
it's
staring
on,
at it
I know
right
it's
now.
on AFI's list of 100 best movies of all time. It's supposed to be a very progressive film for 1940, very female empowerment heavy.
Way
we'll
to
see.
go.
We'll see about that. It's probably like progressive for 1940 is like pretty bad. But we'll find out next week when we watch His Girl Friday and after that LA Confidential.
Okay.
So
I'll be on summer break by then.
that is all the time we have for you guys this week. If you like this podcast, you can check it and all the other shows we do over at our website, www.doofmedia.com. And if you want to support us, support this show, support all the shows we do, Elyse, how can they do that?
You can go to patreon.com/doofmedia and you can contribute any amount of money that you would like, preferably larger than at least $1. We don't take change. $1 and more.
You can donate $1.50, I believe.
Ah, news to me.
Yeah. I don't know.
I haven't thought of a good $5 prize yet.
Yeah, Elyse is still working on the $5
I forgot
level.
I was going to think about a $5 prize.
Yeah, so what you mean by you haven't thought of one yet is that you forgot that you were supposed to be thinking
I
about
just
one.
thought of one.
Okay, well, we'll discuss that offline.
Okay. Why can't I just workshop it to these people right here?
Because what if we decide we don't like it and then we've just teased them with something that we're not going to use?
Is that bad?
All right, guys, if you are listening via Apple Podcasts, we also would like you to read a rating and a review. Elyse hasn't gotten to read one in a while now, and we really want her to. So
Yeah, I have to practice my literacy skills
exactly.
and voices.
Leave your ratings.
If I don't
Leave your
practice them, I
reviews.
don't keep them up.
They go away.
They do.
They go away.
I think I would like to still read.
All right, guys, everyone have a wonderful week, and we will see you next Tuesday for His Girl Friday.
Why don't we say you will see us? Do we see them?
I mean, nobody sees anybody. It's a
Yeah,
expression.
what's the matter with that?